I do not wish for the harm of anyone involved. The style of this video is largely for entertainment purposes. The Death of Hax. Many are responsible for Hax's death, though some more than others. We've all seen the list of TOs who kept him banned. The question? Who's more accountable? Hax was the type to take things to the extreme, as we can see from his evidence.zip videos, as well as in the value he provided for Melee. This is just the way his mind worked, for good or to his own detriment, though he often showed good-hearted intentions. When he made mistakes in his social life surrounding Melee, he was subsequently banned. When he apologized, he was mostly forgiven. So why instead of being unbanned was he sentenced to the most tragic and detrimental blacklists in Melee history? How can dozens of people know to ban Hax all at the same time? Well, first, we need to talk about the CSRP. The CSRP was founded in September 2024 and stands for the Community Safety Resource Project. The resource in this case? A register of over 200 competitive players recommended for global bans. The goal is supposed community safety, but what about community safety at large? What about the health and safety of those 200 plus people, even if they did do something wrong? Have the people recommending their bans never done anything wrong themselves? Doesn't everybody deserve an open window for redemption and not be given such harsh and extreme penalties? Hax's ban became more than just a ban. It was an ongoing case of social exclusion, as he made his distress and apologies extremely clear, but was continued to be ignored by TOs as well as those with influence, such as those who run the CSRP. When someone is excluded from a social group, also known as bullying, it can have lasting effects on their psychological state and how they're likely to behave. Hax's case came 3 years prior to the CSRP and was actually quite the opposite. It wasn't a small group with a large list of banned individuals. Instead, it was a large list of individuals agreeing to blacklist only him. If being on a ban list is already enough to psychologically affect a person's self-worth and ability to make rational decisions, then imagine how someone would feel when all these people sign a form excluding only them, worldwide, forever. It's the kind of exclusion that doesn't just remove someone from a space. It makes them question whether they ever truly belonged in the first place. That level of isolation leaves marks that linger long after the ban itself and is not okay. Our gaming communities were once very simple. They now feel hijacked by warriors of social justice who take it upon themselves to decide who should and shouldn't be banned. The nail in the coffin is that they haven't considered that this very behavior can actually inflict even more harm on a person via effects of isolation, such as depression, helplessness, and much worse. All of these being felt by Hax in the years leading up to his death, despite his numerous apologies. The consequences that Hax received for his mental unwellness were not only taken up by seemingly random people who should have had no say in his exclusion from global events, but were just simply not appropriate, extremely unfair, and entirely lacked any real legal regulation. To the TOs and people who involved themselves in community conduct, it's your job to organize events and share your opinions on community behavior. It is never your job, however, to meticulously orchestrate an indefinite and worldwide ban of any player, period. That being said, I've developed a system for immediate change to the way these situations are currently handled. By the Death of Hax, I call for all global and indefinite ban systems to be promptly switched to local and temporary suspension systems, for the safety of every person involved, including those who do wrong, as everyone is equally important. It doesn't make sense to ask a local organizer to unban players from their events. We can, however, change this system to be more productive and safer than what we currently have. As I said before, the people who've constructed these ban lists have failed to consider the health and safety of the people on those ban lists, meaning they have failed at the one thing they claim to be doing, which is keeping the community safe at large. Why need a code of conduct or a list of banned players in a community when legal societal frameworks like laws and court systems already exist? It just introduces unnecessary and avoidable issues. When a player is banned, it's most often because they've done something wrong, which means they probably have poorer decision-making skills and social skills than the average person, and that they actually need the help even more. When they're communicated a ban, whether it be globally, permanently, or even based off false claims, they can perceive it in their minds as just being excluded, and it can induce a harm that leads to further mental distress or suicide if the person doesn't have the proper supports. These matters should not be taken into community members' own hands, but rather just left up to the law. I believe that anybody who declares someone's ban as being permanent is implying no chance of recourse for that person, and as a result has made a mistake in considering basic human decency. I'd like to help by suggesting the removal of any indication of permanency when communicating a ban, and I would even like to extend this message to large organizations such as Twitch, where channel bans and the mental health of young people are very, very prevalent. I also believe that the people at the CSRP who used their compilation of data to influence community ranking organizations such as Luminosity and Melee It On Me have also made a large mistake in taking away a person's ability to show growth through proper behavior at other events where they've never even done anything wrong. To summarize, I believe global and permanent bans should be switched to temporary suspensions on local levels, even if that suspension is multiple years, ensuring open opportunity for recourse, and to use the existing framework of the law to determine a person's legal right to access major events and global rankings. Hax's story is a tragic reminder of what happens when punishment is prioritized over understanding and exclusion is placed first. This isn't just about one person, it's about a system that failed to consider the human cost of its decisions. I would not like to excuse people's mistakes, but to challenge the way we handle them. If we truly care about community safety, that care needs to extend to everyone, not just people we feel comfortable supporting, but also people who've struggled or may have done something wrong. No one should ever feel their life is over because a group decided they didn't deserve another chance. Let Hax's memory serve as a wake-up call, not to divide us further, but to ask harder questions, push for better systems, and to build a scene that heals rather than harms. Thanks for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other. I love you all.